Hi everybody, this is Dee at Aloha Astro. Let's take a look at today's super full moon in Scorpio. It occurred at 6:45 this morning on May the 7th, 2020, and it occurred at 18 degrees of Scorpio, actually 17 degrees 20 minutes. So let's see the image that I found to represent the energies of the day, and this is courtesy of Dilka Bear, the artist who painted Full Moon Children. And let's read what we have written for the full moon. Full moon in Scorpio, Thursday, May 7th, emphasizes using intuition and spirituality to handle practical and material matters, as the moon forms a trine to Neptune in Pisces and an opposition to the Sun conjunct Mercury in Taurus. No matter what house this full moon visits in your own natal chart, the influence of Scorpio's 8th house realm of sex, death, taxes, metaphysics, the occult, investments, inheritances, and business partnerships will be felt. Merging of boundaries and sharing of assets or values is Scorpio's domain. The planet that rules Scorpio is transformative Pluto, and right now it joins expansive Jupiter in Capricorn, and together they form supportive sextiles to Neptune and the Moon. And although the Moon opposes the Sun and Mercury, they are also sextile to Neptune, further guiding you to trust your inner knowing and primal instincts. All these water and earth planets speak of accessing hidden knowledge and ancient wisdom as you contemplate life's mysteries. But there are youthful and future-oriented energies present now as well, with Venus in childlike, imaginative Gemini, trine to Mars in rebellious, ingenious Aquarius. You might feel Neptune in Pisces square to Venus as the loss and mourning that comes with the passage of time, aging and death, and even the gaining of wisdom and spiritual truths which replace ignorance and naivety. As you move toward multiple planets about to bring retrograde lessons this month, spend this full moon in Scorpio finding a peace in both the dark and the light, the past and the future, and work at merging the spiritual and material sides of your life. So let's take a look at the Sabian symbol for this moon, and we'll take a look at the planetary chart as well, what's going on in the heavens visually so you can see where the transiting planets are. We're over here at planetwatcher.com. There's the moon at 17 degrees. Here's the sun at 17 degrees, conjunct Mercury at 20. We have Uranus nearby at 7, but it's no longer having quite the same effect it did last week. A lot of people had some surprises come up last week while the sun and Mercury were activating a planet of change and unpredictability, and now that's beginning to subside. Although if you've had some radical changes occur in your life, such as layoffs, changes in job situation that might affect your finances, you may be dealing with the repercussions now at the full moon and trying to think about, well, what are you going to do, especially if hours were cut or job was lost or a source of income changed under the current world and economy situations, which are highly unpredictable and unstable right now. So here we've got Neptune interacting with a lot of different things, interacting with Mercury and the Sun, Jupiter and Pluto, the Moon, as well as making this square to Venus, as I had mentioned. I feel like this is almost as important as the Moon at this point, because the Moon is very well connected to Neptune, and these are two very sensitive influences. So the psychic and spiritual and intuitive side of life is highlighted right now and is made even bigger by Neptune and by Jupiter and Pluto tying into the moon. And we do have a little bit of support in terms of Mars in Aquarius, making that aspect to Venus in Gemini. Some people are embarking on new relationships or meeting new people, especially online. Technology is very much involved in people's love lives right now, since so many people are social distancing and unable to get out in group situations. So some people are actually conducting relationships almost entirely online at this point. We do have Saturn kind of standalone here in Aquarius, and it is close to Jupiter. In fact, there is a conjunction there. However, we have different signs. Now, Saturn's going to be doing some retrograding in the days ahead. We have a lot of retrogrades coming up in the month of May. Let me just grab... we might actually be able to see when Saturn goes retrograde in 3.3 days. Venus retrograde in 5 days, Jupiter retrograde in 6.8 days. So hold on to your hats. A lot of things are going backwards, and we may have to do things over again. We may have to look at bolstering up the current plan and seeing what needs to be restructured, how we can do it better, particularly with Jupiter and Venus, both benevolent planets, going retrograde, and Saturn will eventually return to Capricorn. So a lot of the changes that were put in place are going to be rethought, reworked, and we might go back to some older patterns in the months ahead through the summertime. We will not see Saturn come back into Aquarius again until, let's get the date on that. So Saturn will re-enter Aquarius in December of 2020, December 17th. So we have it retrograding back into Capricorn soon. It's going to retrograde back out of Aquarius and into Capricorn on July 2nd. So Saturn is a key planet to watch how it affects society as a whole and how governments handle the COVID-19 crisis and how society adjusts to doing business under the restraints of a virus that threatens people's health and ability to go out into the world and interact with others. Right now, though, the moon is highlighting 8th house matters, 8th house issues, and that is always about the merging of boundaries and the sharing of assets. And the sun in Taurus has a lot to do with money and values. Taurus rules the 2nd house of personal finances, self-worth, self-esteem, your individual values, and here it's where we share those values with somebody else, whether it's in a committed relationship or in a business partnership. So money, trust, those are issues that come up under the influence of this full moon. And the spiritual side of things, or how to trust in your ability to manifest the things that you need through your connection to a higher power, not just a reliance upon, let's say, government, and looking to become a manifester through the energy that's being offered to you at this time, particularly through Neptune. And let's take a look at the Sabian symbol for this time period, for this particular full moon. We round up to Scorpio, 18 degrees, a path through woods brilliant with multicolored splendor, the exalted feeling of a work well done and a truly consummated life. The person who has lived with faith the transpersonal life, the life through which spirit radiates creatively, can experience blessedness and peace even though his or her cycle of experience nears its end. It has been a life full of seed. The seeds are hidden, perhaps, yet they are filled with the power to overcome cyclic death. The soul is at peace. The clear autumnal sky silently intones the great message, "Well done, little man." In this third symbol of the fivefold sequence, we see the smile of the youth brought to a more mature, more spiritual culmination. Human nature is a magnificent symphony of warm, rich colors, now that the strictly biological green of vegetation experiences its transfiguration. I think that's a coming to an understanding and wisdom and the peace that comes, that is not dependent upon circumstance. It is dependent upon something spiritual within you, which definitely reflects the current transits. And the imagery that I was so drawn to in this painting, we have the moon on one girl's dress, the sun on the other, and the polarity, of course, of the white and the black, the light and the dark. You notice the little crystals growing up out of the ground, the power within nature with those magical crystals popping up out of the ground. And here we have a very Saturn or potentially Saturn-Pluto influence with the old age and the wisdom of Saturn/Capricorn energy that we've got going on at this time. The age, the mortality, the hidden Scorpio wisdom of the other side. All of the universe appears to be within the inside of this being. I'm not sure what you would call this, kind of like a turnip man, bear, something or other. And the threads, the yarn that is attached between the children and this rather tired-looking yet wise being that has some inner mystery to connect to them or share with them. Basically, they are going to probably become like this being at some point in time, or they're able to tap into this wisdom or knowledge that's contained within this being. So I found this to be particularly powerful painting for the energy of our time right now, where we have the Gemini, Venus in Gemini, very much active, and we've got the Capricorn, Pluto type of energy also very active, and the Neptune spirituality, Neptune in Pisces, which has strong resonance for the force of nature, the spirituality in nature that is there for mankind to be able to tap into. And we have a very natural setting here with the woods and the crystals popping up out of the ground. So I enjoyed this painting very much. Thank you, Dilka. And I see that her Etsy shop is currently closed because of the coronavirus, but if you do like her paintings, you can follow her on Facebook, and I'm sure she will keep us informed of when her art's available for sale again. Anyway, I enjoy this full moon and the depths that it brings to you and the opportunity it brings you on the spiritual level as well. Take care and be safe until I see you at the new moon coming up next.